Well, hello, and welcome to this episode of Water Cooler Wisdom. My name is Frances Donnelly, and I'm the Director of Product Development and Sales at Horizons International. Our topic today is going to focus on the digital factory, the trends that we've been experiencing, and with me today is Sandy Wickman. She's a Senior Business Consultant at LBMC Technology, and I've asked her to join us because she has many years of experience implementing manufacturing solutions in a broad range of industries. Sandy, how are you this morning?
I'm great, Francis. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm just delighted that you're here. So it seems to me that a good place to start is with an explanation of the term digital factory. When I use that term, I'm generally describing a manufacturing environment where management is in control of production and information flows through a selection of digital solutions. That's kind of a, very generic type of an explanation. How would you describe digital factory, and what are some of the solutions that you see manufacturers being able to leverage for better results?
Well, I think digital factory has a wide range of interpretation from simply adding technology to your manufacturing processes to robotics, 3D visualizations, simulations, all kinds of things. But the main goal of a digital factory, in my estimation, is a comprehensive planning, continuous evaluation, and enhancement of the real factory making products. So, a significant starting point for the focus of digital factory often is things like an MRP solution or machine and scale and workstation integration, or even quality testing integration. And, organizations are really able to start to see benefit from a digital factory journey when they keep a bigger picture kind of a view to this. So, ongoing evaluation across different units in their organization and an iterative process where they can say, what did we try? What was successful? What was not? How do we take that information and do the next steps till we get to a place where we find that we've made some solution changes that make a difference. And then, of course, leadership and mission really has a significant part to play in the interpretation of digital factory, in that, taking that journey is something that needs to be led and directed such that people have the time and the energy to be able to put to that kind of a solution change within their organization.
So those are, I love the transfer a little bit off of the pure technology view, which tends to be part of my explanation, and into things that are more immediate and more present. But people like a story of real life. So can you tell me more about what kind of benefits you have seen existing manufacturing customers achieve as they embrace digital factory performance?
Sure, absolutely. So, something that comes to mind is a scenario where manufacturing environment was enabled with handheld devices, tablets, to take out onto the manufacture floor to be able to record quality results and place lot quantities of goods on hold based on pass fail kind of information for both vendor incoming goods as well as the testing of finished products. So by immediately having the ability to place something on hold as it came in from a vendor, we know that it can't be placed into a manufacturing event until such time as that hold has been released. And that hold now becomes available for anyone to be able to see systematically by simply looking elsewhere. They don't need to be in the same place as the person who's placing the hold. And it keeps us in a place of being certain that our finished goods are controlled such that they can't go out to a customer until quality has been verified. So an immediate benefit of being able to place a tablet in the hands of a quality person on the manufacturing floor.
Yeah, I mean, timing is that timing space, right? If we have to walk to a desktop somewhere or something like that to execute a transaction, when we're talking about quality, that's a gap in quality. So I can see where that's really useful. And that's a great real world example. But is there a particular piece of information today or a benefit that you would like manufacturers to better grasp about digital transformation for their businesses?
Well, what comes to mind really is what you've sort of pointed out. The digital factory sounds entirely about technology, but it really has very many human elements to it. A digital factory, when it's presented, creates an opportunity for teams of people who are cross department to be able to provide some input to what becomes mission critical information that needs interpretation and possible action, right? So the information that's coming out of a digital technology needs to then be interpreted, defined, categorized, determine whether there are issues that they need to reach out to people outside of their organization to be able to get input on how to find solutions for those things. And then it also creates opportunities across these departments to keep from having silos of information that could create gaps simply because the information is not traveling across departmental lines that would keep them from having problems in their overall solution and the technology that's providing data back to the entire organization.
So, Sandy, one of the things I really heard in that explanation is a focus on the human aspects of this concept of digital transformation. You know, it can be really easy to mistakenly align with just the technology aspect and focus on that as the most relevant part of the investment. But as you point out very clearly, what we need to remember is that the goal of the technology is to better enable the people in the process with the right information. So thank you. That's a really useful reminder. You know, I'm going to move on from here a little bit and say you and I have discussed in the past that manufacturers are typically not early adopters, that these are organizations that typically don't like to live on the bleeding edge of technology. So this digital transformation journey is something we would historically have expected them to take a long time to accomplish. But today, largely because of the global pandemic, it seems that the slower pace we might have experienced is actually going to be accelerated. So some of the factors that I see driving that acceleration, clearly are, the competitive advantage that companies who already started their digital journey were able to utilize during the pandemic. We're also seeing the global trend to onshoring, and it really doesn't matter where you are, there's onshoring taking place, and that's going to, elevate the volume of local production. There's also, I believe, a labor shortage, particularly of skilled labor, and I don't think that's a myth of any sort. And then consumers are more focused on understanding the sourcing of their products, and they want to be assured about purity, freshness, and other factors. Do you think these factors will continue to drive an accelerated acceptance of digital transformation, or is there any one factor that you think will be more impactful, or do you see something else driving this?
Well, I certainly agree with you that those four things are factors that are having an impact and are not going away anytime soon. I also would say that there are opportunities for manufacturers' growth, either through acquisition or market share, that are participating equally in driving the get to the digital factory sooner, so that when those growth opportunities come and those spurts come, that we're prepared to be able to take on those new opportunities.
Yes, I think you're right. We can even see that in some of the customers that that have been longtime customers of the Horizons manufacturing suite. They're coming to ask about how they might take on some other avenues of business. So we've covered real world benefits. So let's change direction and consider, what do you encounter as the typical roadblocks?
Well, simply getting started is one.
Right.
Right. I think many people have heard the ideas and the benefits of digital transformation, but just get your boots on the path is sometimes a challenge. And so selecting an internal team who have the bandwidth to commit to the focus that's necessary to make successful change happen. And then, of course, the data aspect of digital transformation and change in factory. So, massive vulnerabilities in data sources is a key issue that manufacturers struggle with. They may not have been 100% convinced that their Excel data was exactly right, but it's what they've relied on for a long time. And so having to take that and move it to some other platform and believe that we can do it successfully and not find gaps and holes, and so reconciling that data and then staying the course. We get distracted by, oh, it's time for an FDA audit, it's time for something else that comes along, and we lose our focus, and we're unable to make enough time to keep to an agenda or a path. So staying the course until you can get the right talent and innovation to carry a change project to the point of benefit.
Gotcha. So we agree there are hurdles and roadblocks, right? Let me ask you this. Do you have a key factor that in your experience, really gives you a sense that this manufacturer's project is going to succeed? And what would that factor be?
I would probably say leadership. So, making the decision to embrace this as an initiative and then creating the space for it to play out. Everybody's constrained, as you mentioned before, about the lack of talent that's available out there to be able to accomplish all the day-to-day work as well as the additional initiatives is tough. And so, find the right innovation and the right team and get your strategies set up and then start someplace and have the leadership create the opportunities to keep things moving, a focus to be able to report in on how they're doing against those initiatives and what they can do to create opportunities for it to continue to have traction, even if it's slow traction.
Okay. So you're kind of leaning on from that and maybe coming back to specifics a little bit. We've heard a lot about the difference between manual systems and material planning systems that are more automated, like MRP, which tends to be one of the initial benefits of a digital transformation project. Can you tell us a little bit about what you are experiencing as the key outcome differences or cost differences that companies with or without MRP are encountering?
I can. It's an unfortunate thing, but purchasing staff are particularly impacted by the current challenged marketplace, and so everything from constrained components to negotiating pricing and requirements for arranging transportation where there's limitations are so significant that purchasing staff are considering other employment. It's so bad, but a fully functional MRP system creates the possibility for all of these factors to at least be in front of you, to be able to pick where you need to focus your time and effort for that moment in order to be able to create just-in-time inventory available to do your manufacturing process. In some cases, I've seen, manufacturers who are well-funded go out and simply buy double of all of their components, which created a huge issue for warehousing and cash flow and other things that created downstream issues that simply wasn't the best choice, where an MRP could better inform purchasing instead of just over purchase.
Well, so if you were a manufacturer today and you heard those description of MRP and you said, really, I've got to make some transitions into some of these tools, whether it's MRP or barcode scanning or any quality management system, and you're confronted by this concept of being told that you need to rip and replace in order to get to those benefits. That's a pretty challenging idea. So is there a less dramatic path? So in your opinion, what actions can leadership take if they want to move on their path to digital factory, but they don't necessarily want to deal with rip and replace?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, in my 20 plus years of experience as a GP consultant, I've seen a number of customers who really didn't understand all of the technology that's available to them within their GP systems. And so looking at what you currently have within your systems that you may not be taking advantage of at this moment, and then using some of those things to position you for the next steps. So one of the things that I would question those who are hearing this is, are you aware that your GP system has a PO generator that could easily be a precursor to a full MRP that you can start to implement and take advantage of now, and then move towards that fuller MRP functionality as you're able to make additional investments.
So it sounds to me, Sandy, as you say that maybe one of the things, broadly speaking, that we should be suggesting to manufacturers and that is that, think about the fact that you might only be utilizing 40 or 50% of the benefit of the solution you currently have. That you might have the tools already in place to begin execute, actually not begin, but to execute this journey to digital transformation. That set aside the I need to replace everything idea and instead do it, dig in and find your experts and dig in and find out what more is available. Like that sounds like what you're proposing.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow. Well, that's certainly a call to action for some of our audience, I imagine. So look, Sandy, I'm going to go ahead and put up our, going to go ahead and share my screen here so that I can put up our slide deck here for the for the content for contacting us after the event. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. And at the same time, what I'd like to say to everyone is that I really appreciate everybody listening. If you'd like any additional information, or if you have a desire to maybe dive into some of these ideas that Sandy proposed, including maybe an evaluation of whether or not your existing GP system could be doing more for you in your journey to digital transformation, these are our contact points, and we'd be happy to speak with you and give you some of our ideas. And in the meantime, Sandy, to you, I want to say thank you very much. I know that it took a bit of time out of your schedule to share some of these thoughts and ideas, but I'm sure they're going to be very helpful. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Frances.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.